Hello everyone, in today's episode of the 1 Year Life Challenge, we'll talk about Socrates and what this amazing philosopher can teach us about life today. Hello everyone, I'm so excited to talk about Socrates. He's a hero of mine, and I'm so blessed that the universal consciousness will manifest in ways that allow us to learn more. And this bloke from 2,500 years ago taught us so much, and really as part of our consciousness we should embrace him because he was us. He was a subjective experience that we had and learnt so many things, and he's a wonderful guy. Understand that, you know, he's basically considered the father of the Western culture. So all Western culture is almost pinpointed at the teachings of Socrates, and the Western culture, obviously, there's a lot of influence around the Western culture in the world. And not the capitalist model of Western cultures. There's a big difference we should understand. There was the Western culture, which was the classical Greek and Roman, the beauty, the aesthetics, the Spartans, the warriors, the poetry, the Iliads, all that amazing stuff, the bards, and then there was capitalism bolted on. So not a lot of people think the West is no good, but you've got to understand there was a West before capitalism, and had a lot of good things to say. So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote, and from my homeboy, the main bloke of this topic, Socrates said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." Socrates, 475 BC. I like that stuff. I like when people are humble. I know I don't know anything. Socrates knew he didn't know anything, and he knew much more than me, so what does that tell you? And what Socrates is really trying to illustrate is that just going to life is one big awesome journey. You know, if you think you know things, and if you're so definite that this country is no good and this country is good, or people shouldn't get married for these reasons, listen, you don't know those things, you think those things. There's a difference between knowing and thinking. Now, I know that we're all in this together and we're all connected, but I think that the capitalist system around the world and the global economy is flawed. But I don't know that, I think that, and there's a difference. You should only deal in the world of things you know, and you probably only know really in your heart a few things. That love is everything, and you probably know that we're all together. Those are the things you should work off. Everything else we just don't know, we're just guessing. Science does a great job at pretending that we know everything. Understand fully that 99.5% of all scientific theories ever created have been proven wrong. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with science, but it's important to understand that as humans, we just guess a lot of the time. We create theories and we think that's right, but they all get overturned eventually as the more information we get. And as the fundamental nature of reality is void, the closer we get to thinking we know everything, the closer we get to void, which is nothing. So we know nothing. So who was Socrates? So Socrates was born in 469 BC, 469 BC in Athens in the classical Greek era. Is credited with laying, like I said, the fundamentals of Western philosophy. The guy was just a cool dude, and he was a bloke who really just didn't give a damn. He wasn't a good looking bloke, but he went out into the streets and he asked just everyday Athenians, going, "What's life all about?" And Athenians going, "Man, I didn't get the kids, and you know, someone threw a spear at me, and you know, I had this spark." No, what's life all about? And he would question, and he would get people to think and to live an examined life. So my personal story is I started reading about Socrates. I went, "Oh, this is amazing. This has real impact on my life." A light bulb went off, and I was like, "Where are these guys now, and why are they hidden?" If this bloke was Socrates, one of the most famous people on the planet for 2,000 years. Why do most kids that if I went to the street and go, "Who's Socrates?" they wouldn't have a clue. These people have been hidden from us because their lessons, there's nothing to sell in their lessons. First of all, their stuff's out of copyright, so you can't sell their books. And secondly, they talked about living an austere, beautiful lifestyle about connection, love, and nature. There's nothing to sell there. So these guys have been supplanted by Kanye West, Kim Kardashians, supermodels. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those people, but I'm saying, are they really the people we model our lives on? And can we model our lives? I can't be a Kanye West. I don't have a Maybach that I can cut up with Jay-Z and have some fun with some girls and bikinis. Now, it sounds lovely, but it's not within my realms of things that I do. But I can be like Socrates. I can be like Plato. I can be like Aristotle and just be a person who's really enjoying life. The fact these are hidden are one of the, and it's beautiful that capitalism has hidden these individuals from us, because it's the motivation for me to create these videos so we can reconnect with the people who really had not Pepsi, weren't working in the background for KFC, or weren't trying to sell Nike shoes to you in the background. What they really wanted to do was connect with you and help you understand nature through their personal story. So what are the lessons that Socrates taught us? Well, yes, he was a philosopher, but he was a warrior. So he fought against, I think it was the Peloponnesian War, and he had, he got cut, he got injured, and he was all about, yes, I'm a smart, I like to read, and I like to get lots of information, and I like to explore the world, but at the end of the day, you can't just disavow life. You can't sit in a room and read books. There's life to go out there. So he was, as an Athenian, he had to, but he fought in these wars, and he understood that ultimately life was going to go on no matter whether you're worrying or thinking about it or not. The other lesson I personally learnt from Socrates, a beautiful story where there was an Adonis who was basically one of the #1 warriors in Athens. And one of the things we forget about Western culture, and a lot of the there was a lot of homosexuality, or it wasn't even considered homosexuality. There was a lot of love between all different things going on, it seemed, right? And in this particular case, there was a man who was considered the most beautiful man in Athens, and I forget his name, but we'll call him Adonis for now. It was based on the stereotype of Adonis. And Adonis was absolutely enthralled by Socrates, because Socrates obviously gave great speeches, was an incredibly intelligent guy, and this Adonis was sexually attracted to Socrates because he was so attracted to his mind. People need to remember that as well. The brain is the sexiest organ. Every sexual attraction you have, whether it's down there or anywhere, it starts here first. And ultimately he tried to seduce Socrates. And Socrates looked at him during this seduction where he was trying to get Socrates drunk. Socrates said, "I'm assuming that you think, because you're so beautiful, that I will sleep with you and I will exchange, and I assume that you want to sleep with me because you think I'm so brilliant." And he goes, "Yeah, absolutely." He goes, "I think you're brilliant and I'm obviously beautiful." It's okay. He goes, "Well, if I was to trade your beauty for my brains, they'll be trading lead for gold, and I don't want to do it." What a great statement. We put superficial beauty on such a pedestal these days, and the doctors and the explorers and the people making a difference in our world, you're not pretty enough for TV, and we never hear of them. Lead for gold. These superficial things will leave you. Whether you're beautiful right now, it will leave you, but your personal glow, your personal love will stay forever. Gold for lead. Never trade gold for lead. I've got into so many relationships because I was so infatuated with how attractive a person was. It's gold for lead. Don't do it. The third thing that really Socrates brought into understanding the soul. We've got to remember this is 2,500 years ago. So he used to talk about how we had a soul and a body. And your soul is more important than your body. And this came to a fore when ultimately, he was going to be put to death. And he would say things like, "I would rather this body be put to death than my soul do something that's going to hurt it, because my soul is much more important." And understand the concept that we carry a soul in Western culture is in big part because of Socrates. The number 4 thing I learned from Socrates, he never wanted anything written down, which is beautiful, right? Because he had so many people following him around, high-fiving him, telling him it was great. And he said to them, "Don't write this down. This is my journey. The things I'm learning, I want to leave for other people to learn. If they pick up a book by Socrates, all they're going to read is what I learned. And there goes the beauty of what I learned is the fun I had in learning it. So they should have that opportunity." Ultimately, Plato, who was the student of Aristotle, created a book. He created books like the dialogues where his conversations with Socrates were recorded, and that's actually everything we know about Socrates comes through Plato and his writings about his conversations with Socrates, which is amazing. So a guy who never wrote a book is the foundation for Western philosophy. Virtue. Socrates was all about virtue. Do the right thing. He basically, put it in modern words, it's always the right time to do the right thing. And he believed that. He believed virtue was the #1 quality of anything virtue, just love and understanding, which I think we understand. The last one, think for yourself and ignore the state. Ultimately, Plato was put to death for corrupting the youth, getting the youth to think for themselves. But he was a big believer that the state was just an edifice. It was just a concept, and it should be challenged all the time. This is what George Washington used to say, there should be a revolution in America every couple of generations, because we know that humans have a tendency to, whether it's in relationships with their partners or whether it's in jobs, to get a little bit stale, to really start ignoring what's important and start just getting into bureaucracies and ticking the boxes. And when you start ticking boxes and treating people like numbers, things like the Holocaust and all these things become available because we stop looking at the big things. Ignore the state and think for yourself. And that's a message I hope that you're starting to understand through this series, is that the country you live in, the government you live in, is not your God. And they're definitely not your king. Even if you have a king, they're not your king. It's just a thought concept. You yourself are responsible for your own happiness. And finally, his death. So the Athenian government put Socrates to death for corrupting the youth of Athens, and he quite willingly, and I'll tell you this story, I love it. So what happens is, A lot of times, you know, the sentence, back in the day, sentence for death, everything you did, you know, you pick your nose, you sentence for death. But what would happen is, you'd plead your case, and then you'd come up with an alternative punishment. It was quite cool the way the Greeks used to do it. So what would normally happen is, I'll go, Brad, I'm going to kill you because you made a video series. And I go, no worries. I think it'd be better if I had to leave the country. And people go, yeah, let him leave the country, we don't want to kill him. So the citizens would vote. Now, Socrates, who was very well known, very popular, was given this opportunity. And his second ultimatum, so rather than put to death, he put it forward that rather than be put to death, my punishment should be free meals for the rest of my life in Athens. And everyone's going, oh, what the nutcase? Because you can't give someone free meals who's being convicted of something. So what he really knew was he's putting them in a position to make a real choice. Should he be put to death for the things he did? And he put it back onto them. They still chose to put him to death, and he just went out like a man. He took his hemlock, he died, and he really was happy because he knew he'd lived a fulfilled life. Understand, people like Buddha, Socrates, Jesus, Confucius, these ancient, with Marcus Aurelius, these ancients that never tried to sell us a thing that really didn't make any money are so important to our lives, and we can't lose them. And that's why I'm so glad to bring this Socrates video to you. It's definitely something to think about. What other hidden gems have we locked away? We'll explore them through the 1 year life transformation. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, but until then, goodbye.